You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
And we're back. 770 Eastern Parkway. The Crown Heights Jewish community is the place where students, especially, come from all over the world to the headquarters of the Chabad Lubavitch movement. And unfortunately, about a week ago, there was a devastating fire in a dorm. 7 were injured. And the question we're addressing tonight is who is in charge, who is taking care of the students, and so many of them coming, as I said, from all over the world. Rabbi Mendy Cohen joins us. He is the Director General of the United States Chaplain Corps and Executive Director of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. Welcome to the program, gentlemen. We're also live on YouTube. So many, if you want to put on your camera as well. And we are beginning our broadcast. So let me begin with you, with Rabbi Mendy Cohen. I know you for so many years and so active in the Jewish community. Tell us, what upset you when you heard about the fire that took place over a week ago in Crown Heights, Brooklyn?
Good luck to you. I'm just coming back from the hospital.
Are you able to put on your camera so we can see you and our YouTube viewers can see you as well?
All right, I'm driving
Okay.
Back from the hospital, so I'll open the camera as soon as I get to a safe place.
Sure, safety is paramount. So, what upset you about the fire?
Well, first, good luck to you, Shavua Tov. The objective of this talk first is not to upset, is not to destroy, is not to attack. The aim of this call is to create a wake-up call. Why? Why do we need a wake-up call? Well, first, we need a wake-up call for Mashiach to come. That's number one. That will resolve every problem. But on February 14th, last Friday, at 10 o'clock in the morning, a fire started in a two-family home in Crown Heights, where students, Bachrim from the Rebbe's Yeshiva, 770 Eastern Parkway, were sleeping late in the morning. Fire started. Few Bachrim were hurt. Tonight, we have 2 Bachrim who are in Cornell burn unit, and 1 who is now in a hospital in the Bronx with 60% burn, hanging on to life. And we need Yeshua, we need miracle. We need a miracle to save his life. But at 10 o'clock, around between 10 and 11 o'clock on that Friday morning, he was transported to Kings County Hospital. Kings County Hospital is a trauma center, and that was the right call. From around between 10 and 11 to about 3 to 4 in that day, in the afternoon before Shabbos, Kings County realized that they could not continue treating this bacher. So they had to transfer him. Kings County is a New York City health and hospital, state hospital, and he was transferred to a burn unit from the same hospital system in the Bronx. From there, parents are from Israel. This boy is from Israel. And I got a call, Motzei Shabbos last week, from the family in Israel to be on top of it. So really, the question I would like to understand, and thank you, Eli, for being here tonight. Maybe you could also shed some light on what's going on. First of all, my question was, why was he alone? Why this bacher was alone in the hospital for hours, for 4 or 5 hours, without any supervision? None. Where's the yeshiva? So I asked questions. I went to ask what happened here. And I cannot get any answer except to understand that this bacher was in a private apartment rented by those students, and that was not authorized by the yeshiva. Okay, so I asked the yeshiva why is nobody there? Why are those not, or at least one.
Rabbi Mendy, I know we're
Now,
okay. Go ahead.
what exactly happened? And the question is really the following. When I ask for answers, or at least understand why nobody, not one person from the yeshiva, and I'm directing this question to you to find out, I called the Rosh Yeshiva. I called his family. The first answer I got, he's not a bacher of the yeshiva. As we know, many bachim. Let me explain to you that this program to bring students from Israel for a year in the yeshiva of 770 was a directive of the Lubavitcher Rabbi. The Rebbe asked and wanted bachim from Israel to come study 1 year in 770. This concept is called Kfutza. So it's a group, and they're doing great things for many, many, many years. Those bachim stay over a year. Even the IDF allows them to leave for 1 year. They stay for much longer, and the problem is that I see the problem. The problem is that Torah has a concept of hefker. Hefker is a concept where there is no ownership to something, a piece of land, a piece of real estate, an object, and it's a free-for-all. Everyone can own it, everyone could take it, everyone could do whatever they want with it. Seems to me that there is a free-for-all kind of attitude towards this bachim, and those bachim are not guided, and it's not everybody. Let me be clear with you that there's a lot of bachim that study every day. I'm there every morning. That's why I pray every morning. They're there 7:30. They learn, they daven. But the real question is, you have a lot of them that are hanging around. They do whatever they want, and there's no supervision. And when I ask the administration and the Rosh Yeshiva to come visit, there's nobody there. We don't want to get involved. They told me this bacher is part of the yeshiva, but for some reason, I'm told by those same people, a bacher for us, is a piece of paper. We don't know anyone.
Right, man, you're raising some great questions. I'm going to let Rabbi Eli Cohen see if he can also chime in on that. You see the passion that Rabbi Mendy is speaking about, and the question is, you have so many students coming from Israel. Who is in charge of watching and making sure things don't run in a bad direction? Whether it was with the tunnels, we saw that happen where independent in a Bachram got involved, and now you have this tragedy with the fire. So I know there's so many there. Who's responsible?
Good Tavach, and I'm happy to be on the call. I would just say this. First of all, we should all daven. Obviously, we should pray that Shmuel should have a miraculous and speedy recovery. It touched the heart of everybody. I know that Rabbi Mendy is putting in day and night to assist the family, and I'm really, it takes it's to see that passion and to see that caring is very important. And thank you, Mendy, for all that you're doing. I think that many of your listeners and viewers may not be, so familiar with the overall picture of what the structure of the yeshiva at 770. So the yeshiva has, in the time when I was familiar with it, haven't been so involved recently, but about maybe 400 enrolled students who, maybe a little more than that are in the dorms in the yeshiva. And they're provided with meals, and they're provided with the residence, and and the instruction. But as Mendy mentioned, many, for a Lubavitcher young man growing up in Israel or wherever else, this is the ultimate for him, is to come and spend a year of study in the main central yeshiva of 770 Eastern Parkway. And there are so many more students that want to have this opportunity than the yeshiva is apparently able to handle. So from what I understand, there are many students who are not afforded a dorm space, but are still permitted to come and study in some framework. And not being familiar with the specifics of this individual student, but this is more just a general picture of what's going on. So it's very hard to know. I think that the first thing that we need to do is maybe the awareness that Mendy is bringing, that parents who are allowing their sons to come over and study here. I know this is their whole aim of their yeshiva education is to come and spend time at the central headquarters. Maybe parents themselves need to be better sure that, and I'm nothing about the specific parents of this young man who was hurt.
But is it the parents, or should shouldn't the administration, shouldn't community leaders be watching and making sure safety is of paramount concern? So that's the question. And by the way, before you answer that question, I'm getting a bunch of calls saying, "Can you please give out the name? People want to pray for Shlomo." So if we give out the name, but who is watching these kids?
Chaim Shmuel ben Meirav. Chaim Shmuel ben Meirav.
Meirav is the mother's name. Chaim Shmuel ben Meirav is the name of the young man who was really seriously hurt. And I understand there are two other students who are in a much better condition, who are stable, and they're recovering from their injuries. So this is a terrible, terrible tragedy.
Terrible tragedy.
Yes, and the question is, the real question is, and I think Mendy's raised it in a different way, that there are many, many more students coming to study than there is really the capacity to accommodate them. And how the yeshiva is going to deal with this in the future, I don't know. I know that they've tried to set limits in the past, but parents and students have pushed to be given that opportunity beyond what the yeshiva is capable of handling.
But here's the problem. These students are enrolled in the yeshiva. They're not in the dorm because the dorm is full to capacity. They're on their own. So the question when they're on their own is, isn't somebody monitoring, watching, being on top of it to make sure that things are running smoothly? Because otherwise you have Hefker.
Excuse me. I want to add a point. I want to add a point to your question before, Eli, you answer.
Right.
This pattern of Hefkerus is not only in regards to the dormitories, that the Bachim do whatever they want in terms of where they live and how they live. My question is, there is also Hefkerus that you see constantly Bachim would drink alcohol. There is a black market selling alcohol within 770 every Shabbos by the pallets. That's how they deliver the alcohol. There is a black market where Bachim drink every Shabbos, every opportunity, sometimes late at night, in 770, they get drunk, and that's got to stop. I'll tell you why it has to stop. Because, Simchas Torah, I was walking around during a kafes outside, and I found a bacher on the floor, and he was unconscious. People thought he was sleeping. He had no pulse. I called Atzala. He was on cardiac arrest, and they shocked his heart back to life. This is in our community. The drinking has to stop. That's another FKRS. So it's not, and I predicted that something bad's going to happen. And if things don't change, it's going to happen again, and we're going to have more casualties. So at what point is somebody, and the somebody is only the Rosh Yeshiva, because we know that the head of a yeshiva is the Rosh Yeshiva.
But it goes beyond the Rosh Yeshiva. If you're telling me that people in 770 are imbibing alcohol in great quantities, then it goes beyond. It also goes to the people in charge of 770, whoever that is. I'm not sure. Maybe Rabbi Cohen, you can elucidate on that point as well.
Right. So I I know the Gabayim of 770 very well. They're not selling alcohol. I don't know what Mendy's information is, but it's not relevant to the basic point. The
It is
basic point
very
is,
relevant.
no, 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 no,
Okay, it
no,
is
no, no,
relevant.
no.
It is
Well,
relevant
look,
because
I'm not going to argue with you.
Mr. Kratz has a
No,
business
no,
of
no.
alcohol in
Okay,
770.
Zev, at this point, you know what?
Okay.
I understood that we're coming to talk about a different concept. I'm not ready to continue that conversation if it's going in that direction of names, and this is not appropriate. This is not.
But here, but I
This
think we're
is
all
this is
Rabbi Cohen,
Rechilas and
hold
Lashon
on
Hara.
1 second.
We have to
I think
deal with it. Right.
we're not going to mention them, but if we're going to be concerned about the safety of our children, and every
Yeah.
boy, every girl is precious, their life is
Correct.
precious to us. We have to do whatever possible to safeguard that. And what Rabbi Mendy Cohen is charging, you're not related, by the way, what's charging
No.
is that there is a hefker, means there is nobody watching, nobody's involved in what they should be doing. This dereliction of duties is what he's alleging. If that indeed is the case, then we're talking about some serious situations that has to be corrected immediately.
No, then there's no question about that. 100%. If any of this stuff is true, and if any of this stuff is then clearly it has to be dealt with right away.
And
the
who's going to be
question
dealing
is,
with it? That's the question. Who's going to
right.
be dealing with it?
So maybe I don't know what the answer is, Mendy. You have that information. If that is what's happening, then I think that maybe letters should be sent to parents in Israel. They're all these young men are coming out of yeshivas in Israel, and all these yeshivas should be notified, and the parents of the yeshivas should be notified that they need to be much more careful. If it's not possible for so many students to come, then maybe somebody has to figure out a way for there to be.
Then the parents should be on top of it, but shouldn't somebody from administration? But the administration say we're not accepting your kid because we're over full. Well, they can pick another yeshiva.
Right. So,
why are they doing the yeshiva if they don't have the capacity for them?
Right, correct. So, they're not providing them with a dorm space. They're not. I don't know that. I don't believe that they're taking any funds. It's just a question of people who are coming who want to study in this domain, and in whatever way, officially or unofficially, they're showing up, and nobody's throwing them out of the shul. If that's the question, then maybe that's it's a different question. There has to be clearly some change, and I hear Mendy's pain, and I agree with that. I don't run the yeshiva. I don't have necessarily an influence on the way the yeshiva is run. I'm not sure if this is totally on the yeshiva, but clearly there has to be some serious change. And Mendy, I wasn't there in the hospital tonight looking at this young man in this condition, so I cannot judge the pain and the way that you're expressing it, and there's clearly issues that have to be addressed. But I also don't want to, there's nobody from the yeshiva here to explain the details of how they run their show. There's nobody from the shul here, but the shul is not the issue. The shul is just the setting. This is something that is really about young people who are coming here from Israel. Some of them are accepted officially into yeshiva and enrolled in yeshiva and are dorming in the yeshiva. And then there is an excess of additional students who want to come. You perhaps have, in Lubavitch yeshivas around the world, maybe 2,000 young people a year who are coming to the age where they would like to spend time in 770. If we're talking about Israel, maybe 1,000 young people a year that are coming, and clearly yeshiva isn't capable of accepting so many. So what's supposed to be done? Obviously, nobody wants to say no to a person who's worked his whole yeshiva career to get to a certain point. On the other hand, there has to be some responsibility to make sure that it should be done in an appropriate environment.
Understood.
And
Now,
maybe this is the wake-up call. But
understood.
I think
have
beyond
two
this,
questions for you.
Yeah.
I have two questions for you. Two
Go ahead,
questions.
Number
one. I asked the administration why a Bachram. They told me that they are offering placements, either in a building called 1414 President Street or apartments that they rent out from landlords in Crown Heights. Some Bachram don't like it, so they go out on their own. I asked the administration, I don't understand. You have rules of the yeshiva. You have rules and regulations. A Bachur doesn't want to follow the rules, he's out. There's no business here for them to be hanging around on their own, number one. Number two, how do you explain that last year's the tunnel, then you have boys have gone drunk in during Simchas Torah, then you have them defacing our cities. Every single post, every single traffic light has a sticker of our holy Rabbi.
Mendy, okay.
And this is
I
wrong.
think you
No. This is
yeah.
wrong.
Look,
This is
look,
wrong. This is illegal.
okay.
This is illegal.
But
It's
how
illegal
do you
to
know,
deface.
Mendy? How do you know this is being done by the yeshiva
Yeah,
students?
first of all,
It is
exactly. So,
100% them. We have proof. Number one. Number two,
who's
drinking,
we?
giving drinks to under 21, it's illegal.
Rabbi
Having
Cohen.
Bachrim under 21, giving them alcohol, it's illegal in New York State. How do we let this happen?
Rabbi Cohen, I'll let you
Look,
respond. Let me just tell our audience, and we're speaking of Rabbi Mendy Cohen. He's the Director General of the United States Chaplain Corps, and they're having a big event this week. And Rabbi Eli Cohen is the Director of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. We're going to be right back. And when we come back, we'll try to squeeze in a couple of phone calls. 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925, or email zev@talklinenetwork.com. A good way to get your questions answered, zev@talklinenetwork.com. Coming up in a little while, Alan Dershowitz on why he doesn't like Chuck Schumer and calls him terrible. All this upcoming.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Now we're back. Rabbi Mendy Cohen is the Director General of the United States Chaplains Corps, and Rabbi Eli Cohen, the Executive Director of the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council. Rabbi Cohen, before we get to our phone calls, you want to respond to Rabbi Mendy Cohen about the responsibility and about what's going on in Crown Heights?
Right. So, yes, thank you. And Mendy, I think that I understand the terrible pain that we're all feeling at this moment, and I think that we do need. Clearly, nobody's going to go back home and say everything is done, and there has to be serious change over here. Nothing like this, or even close to it, should ever happen again. And of course, the other things that you're talking about, we also need to make sure that. Oh, you're right in front of 770. Nothing like what you talk about should be happening anywhere, and certainly not in such a holy place like 770. So I think we're all on the same page. I think the most important thing we need to do right now is share with our audience. First of all, we need a lot of prayer, a lot of tefillos for these boys to make a full and complete and miraculous recovery. And secondly, what else can the people do to help to make sure that to alleviate the suffering of these poor families and so on? Mendy, you want to add to that?
Yes. Number one, we should increase in tefillah, in tzedakah, and in gemilas chasadim. Number one, because that's the only things that we have to reverse that. And of course, Havas Israel. But I have to tell you, there is a link on collive.com or .org with a link where you could send a message to the families, the father and mother who are right now by the bedside of a bacher who is hanging on to life.
And that's where you came. You just came from there, right?
I just came from there. From now, it's like an hour away, an hour and a half away from where I live. I'm right now in front of 770. I live myself in Crown Heights. Yes, there is a link there where you could send a message to the parents. I will print everything out and give it to them tomorrow. When they read it, they get inspired. There's a place where you could add a good resolution, because with all, the answer to this, and the only answer to this, as much as my heart is crying right now, and I am upset, I am angry, because this could have been prevented. And again, my aim tonight is to prevent future problems, future hurt, and future pain. What we could do is to increase in Torah, to be nice to each other, to give tzedakah. There's also a link there where you could give money to the family. If it goes through the USCC, our controller is on top of every dollar to make sure that it's, first of all, it's tax deductible. The parents are here. They are not wealthy people by all means. The father works in Ashgacha. The mother is a teacher. They have little kids at home. They can work. They have bills to pay. All this now has to be picked up. And, there is pain. And we should take this phone call and whatever you heard tonight to really find a way to make things better. And Lally, I'm counting on you, because you are the head of the Jewish Community Council. I know you have a new VAD, young boys who are really motivated and they are trying very, very hard. I expect a lot from you guys. I expect to make real changes, and the opportunity is yours.
Let's give a couple of phone calls. Let's go to Tanya in Queens. Tanya, Queens, your question for our guest. Go ahead, Tanya. Tanya, are you there? If Tanya's not there, then we'll go.
Yes, I'm sorry. The community is such a beautiful community, and it's very sad, but Hashem should help. He should have a refuah shalema. My suggestion is there should be a department that set up a division, one for the women's section and, of course, for the men's section, that whoever comes to Crown Heights, they should register. They should have a number that, in case of some emergency, they should have also in that department that in Chas v'Shalom there is such a case like that, someone would go with the person. Hashom, shouldn't happen again. And there's a few things that they should be doing that people know when they're coming there, that they have a place that's representing them, like an embassy. You have to make an embassy there, Crown Heights Embassy, for those who are coming. And people should know that they should be registering and filling out forms, and so that people know who to call and who to go to for any needs.
Rabbi Eli Cohen, is that function that your organization, or that should be a different group?
Well, we have a very strong Hatzalah in Crown Heights. It was one of the leading,
No, it's
the
not a
original
medical
founding
I
members
was in
of
the women's
Hatzalah.
section. Hello? I was in
Yes.
the women's section once, and Baruch Hashem, it's a beautiful, feelings and ruach there. But there were girls that fainted, and nobody was going with them.
I don't know that, but all I know is that the Hatzalah response. Okay.
I just make a remark, please. I care just as much as you care. It should be a separate department, but everything should be connected somehow. Everyone's aware, working with each other. The Gabayim, and there should be something for in the women's section. This has to be more seder. You have to, and I think this is important for you to think about. And I'm willing to come to Crown Heights and discuss it with certain people. The shluchas are there. Please please notify them to daven for him tomorrow.
Anyway, thank you appreciate your phone call, Tanya. Let's go to Lower East Side of Manhattan. And Shlomo, thank you for waiting. Your question for our guest. Go ahead, Shlomo.
Yes, I didn't understand I didn't hear the whole program, but there's a rule of sheker and emes. When a person comes into the country from Israel, they can come as a tourist. If you have limit of 400 and there's no place and it's problematic, they have to come in with an I-20 if they're an ish emes.
Well, look, I don't run the yeshiva, so I can't tell you, but I do know that a lot of these students who are coming are American citizens. They're born to American parents in Israel. A lot of the parents made Aliyah. There are many reasons why I-20s are not always, the student documentation is not the issue. I just want to point out to Mendy mentioned helping the family. There is a campaign on charity.com/Keren, KEREN -351 /56834. That's charity.com/Keren -351 /56834. There's a campaign being run by the Friends of Shmulik to help the family deal with this crisis. So
I'm sorry,
sure
just to interrupt. I do not know where this money goes. Honestly, this is because
Mendy, that's not.
Let me finish. Please let me finish. Right after the event, some Bachim opened up a fund. I know that the family from Israel also opened a fund, and you have to be careful not to use the first one because these are handled by his classmates, and I do not know where this money is going. However, in regards to the I-20,
wait 1 second. No, wait.
Let me just finish. We're on topic.
No.
Please not
much
interrupt
more
me.
important. We have to see to it.
Cohen, I'll let hold on. You're gonna give your.
Could you give the link? Give the link of where they can give the funds. That's the most important.
Isn't there a simple link instead of / / Can we slash it and
come
up with something
is there a link,
simple?
Mendy? Where do they give the funds? Just
you go to collive.org or .com. There you have a link. Look for the article for this box.
That's what I did. I went on that. Okay.
All right. Now let me answer you. Let me answer you about the I-20s. Let me respond to this. I-20s is authorized by the state of Israel for 1 year only. And that's what our holy Rebbe wanted. The Rebbe wanted for Bachim to come here for a year. There's no reason why those I-20 after 12 months, they should be closed down. There's no reason for a Bacher in 770 who has finished his year, unless he is accepted for a second year, which I don't believe it should be, because you just mentioned there's 2,000 Bachim trying to come every year. So we should have the rule as a rule. A Bacher that comes to 770 to study from Israel should stay for 12 months. This is what the Rebbe wanted. Afterwards, he goes back and he could come back as a tourist. It's a free country. But those that finish a year should be stopping. How come today You have hundreds of them that are here on the same I-20 from 2, 3, or 4 years or 5 years ago.
Mendy, I don't know. I think that you're saying a lot of things that are not necessarily exactly as they are. I think I don't run the yeshiva. You don't run the yeshiva.
How do you know? How do you know it's not true?
Well, at the time that I was involved in the yeshiva many years ago, that was not true.
So how do you know it's not true?
It's about 15 or 20 years.
You're correcting me without knowing if it's true or not.
No,
So
I
what's
think
your
I
stand?
think you're making
What is your
assertion.
source? It's not an assertion. It's a fact. What I'm telling you is not an opinion.
Mendy,
It's a fact.
But gentlemen, I think though there is a problem here.
I give you the benefit of the doubt of your pain and your anguish, but I don't think that it's fair for you to come on a program and make assertions about the yeshiva, and there's no one here
It's
to
time
represent
to
the yeshiva.
talk about
I don't know.
all these
I don't know.
problems.
We should get the
Ellie, it's time
yeshiva
to
administration
talk about
on the air too, which we should do for a future program. But I think everybody's concerned for these students, for the Bachrim. We should, and we'll give out the name for people to pray for Shlema. But obviously, if there's a hefker where kids are just running around without supervision, and there's
Then
supposed to be
something has to be done about it.
something has to be done.
We
So
all agree. Yeah.
okay, and the purpose but why I'm doing this program tonight is a wake up that people should understand there is a problem, and there's a problem that has to be a solution. Because we don't, God forbid, want to see a casualty, and then people will start waking up. We want to wake them up early.
I just want to end with one thing, Zev, and that is that I just want to assure Mendy and everyone, I was not here in New York when the fire broke out. Somebody called me, one of the neighbors called me. I was at one of my children's homes, but as soon as I got back, we reached out to find out what's going on, and I know Mendy is doing a great job working with the family. I hope people will rally around. I did if you search fire on the COL Live website, you will find a link to the campaign that Mendy was talking about, I hope, and we hope that this will have a positive resolution.
Gentlemen, unfortunately,
yes, I just want to say one thing, Mendy. Whatever positive things that you want to do to rectify the situation, I promise that I will put in the time that it takes to make it happen.
I hope that God listens to
you.
And he should send a full recovery so Shmuel could come back to us and continue his learning in 770.
Amen. Gentlemen,
Amen.
thank you, Rabbi Eli Cohen, Executive Director of the Crown Jewish Community Council. Thank you, Rabbi Mendy Cohen. Look forward to seeing you Thursday night. We're a special event for the chaplain. That he's Director General of the United States Chaplain Corps. Thank you for being part of our show. Thank you. Okay, when we come back, we'll be speaking to Alan Dershowitz, why he doesn't like Chuck Schumer among the topics, and how he helped the Lubavitcher Rebbe. All this upcoming.